America's a pretty garbage country. Feel free to disagree. I mean, a lot of the people who do disagree tend to just are bad people or just tend to ignore stuff and only care about the stuff that happens to them, which, funny enough, it's like, chances are if you're here and you don't have any money, a lot of bad stuff happens to you. Anyways, there's this video from the Gravel Institute. This guy, oh my god, this is the guy from the Chipmunks movie. This is the Squeakquel. We're gonna see what that's all about. We're gonna watch this video and we're gonna just see what this guy has to say. We have to see why David Cross thinks America sucks at everything. I'd like to hear what he has to say. Temporary setup. I would like to get it back on my feet. But you know, you do what you can with where you're at. So this is gonna be our format for just however many videos until my asshole stops burning. So, oh, also, I don't know if you see that. You see that? Damn it. It says, you are now a YouTube partner. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's jump right into this and see what all this is all about. Let's see. I'm going to refresh it because there's going to be an ad. Oh, there isn't an ad. Wow. All right, let's do it. All right, I'm just gonna jump into this before we even say move forward, I guess, so that we can filter the dumbasses in and out so we can, you know, really hone in on our audience. Yeah, America's a trash heap. It's a vile, evil, backwards country where the people are indoctrinated to love the suffering that they're put through. It's a vain place that only cares about money and demolishes people so that a few people can be propped up in their very specific tiers of society, while, you know, cascading it all under the thin veil of freedom of opportunity and like fairness of capitalism, which, not to say capitalism can't be fair, but it's like if you let people do whatever the hell they want, it's not going to be fair. A few people are going to own everything and fuck everyone else over. So, yeah, welcome to my channel. We're gonna make it through this. We're gonna see what's going on.
America is the greatest country on earth, the strongest, the richest, the most powerful country on earth. As an American, I'm sure you've heard that roughly 135 times a year. 235 if you go to public school. 335 if you go to a Christian academy. We're told that Americans have the best lives of any people in the world. That we have low taxes, small government, and the highest living standards on earth. And most inaccurately, that we're the freest. Well, it is partly true. America is the richest country, not just in the world, but in the history of the world. It's really hard to comprehend just how rich we are. We have 18 million people who are millionaires. American households own about $100 trillion in wealth, an almost unthinkable amount of money. Okay, so America is the richest country ever, but...
And how does a country become the richest? How do you win in an indifferent universe where anything goes? You steal. You gain so much control and power that you are the one that determines the rules in the global playing sphere. I guess the global sphere. The global landscape. I don't know. You pillage. You raid. You siphon. You exploit. I mean, these are all just ways to make money, right? Like, why would you not do these things if the point is to make money? I was watching the show called Secession. It's pretty nice. It's just a bunch of rich people destroying each other. But it's really funny. It's like all of the characters are garbage. They're awful people. But it makes sense because, you know, those types of people are going to get in very specific tiers of society if this is the playing field, if you're rewarded for being a sociopath. It's like what type of people are able to I guess we'll just use it in contrast to another example, right? Dating. As a dude, what type of dude tends to be able to get the most attention and is able to get however many girls to get with them to make them feel a certain way, yada yada. There's a word that we like to call these people. Players. But I thought relationships were about meaning and substance. Why are we calling it a player if it's about like the connection? Unless it's a game that's rigged, that can be exploited if you know how to exploit it. I mean, this kind of just applies to anything in life. If you want to get ahead of people, demolish them, crush them into pulp, make them your bitch, and siphon their goddamn money from them so that you can prop yourself up at their expense. I mean, In order for someone to make a buck, doesn't someone else have to lose it? So how do you take a buck from somebody else? There's a few things, right? If you contextualize things in like an apocalyptic landscape, how are you going to survive? Who wins? The people who are the most destructive, the people who are the most capable of violence and enforcing their will upon other people. Your neighbor, oh shit, he's got a whole stockpile, a bunch of foods and rations. That would last you a good couple months, but he doesn't want to give you any because he wants to secure his own well-being. So what do? I don't know. Grab some guns, kick down his door, bash in his face with a rock, steal his shit. Hey, you got food and you don't have to worry about anything coming after you after that. Wow, who would have guessed that that would occur in a world, in an intrinsically different, callous system where anything goes and the people who win are the most monstrous and who can exploit the indifference of the world to their benefit. That's just that's my hypothesis as to why America is one of the richest. They just have their climby, slimy fingers in every single place in the world, and they just steal, pillage, destroy, rob, murder, maim. It's awesome, isn't it? Freedom. It's great. Human suffering, hell yes. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's easy to go through life by just disregarding that. That's why there's so many people. I mean, everywhere you go, most countries indoctrinate its own people into thinking that it's the best country in the world. That's usually how it goes. That's how you get people to make moves on your behalf. You need to control them, yada yada. But I don't know. It's like if you can disregard the suffering of other people, like I feel like you'd just be better off, especially in a place like this. Be a sociopath. Think about yourself, and then you'll be benefited as a result of as a detriment to other people, while also not caring about it, while also saying that, you know, it's like, oh, this is what I had to do. You got to get my own. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Even though you should hate both, because in order for a game to be a game, players must play it. But then again, you can't just not contribute and be a part of society. You're brought into it. Society created you, so you kind of have to play the game. So I guess destroy, make your own money. Just massacre everyone. Just make so much money off of people's corpses. That's the best way to live life, right? But do it in a way that the law says you're allowed to do that. So there can be a world where like money isn't the single determining factor in the outcome of your overall well-being, which it is for the most part, because that's how humans treat it. If humans just found a way to treat money in a fashion that's like healthy and reasonable and not mindless ego, vanity, sociopathic bullshit, humans could live a cool life. Just humans in general. Humans are more than capable of it, but we just choose not to, because certain people are in certain places making certain decisions that keep people in their places. So it's the way that it is. And just try not to pretend that that's not how the way that it is, because I can understand why you'd want to tell yourself that. You know, emotions, right? Everything's where it should be. Humans are good, despite all the awful shit that we do to each other, and pretend that doesn't happen. It's like it's a bunch of abuse and gaslighting. It's pretty great. But try to, I guess, be aware. Or not. Why would you want to be aware if you're benefited for it? Anyways, let's see what the guy from Scary Movie 2 has to say.
But there's a curious paradox. Most Americans actually have a much worse standard of living than people who live in poorer countries like Germany or Finland or Britain. But how can that be? That shouldn't make any sense. Well, here's the shitty deal. Americans get significantly worse services because our tax dollars don't fund them. So of course our services are worse, and thus we enjoy less happy lives than people who live in the aforementioned countries. Not that difficult a concept to conceive, really. You get what you pay for, said the cartoon dog to the other cartoon dog. And while you might think the reason American tax dollars don't fund as many services is because we pay lower taxes than other countries, that's not even true. When you add federal, state, local, and sales taxes and include other costs and services that our taxes don't cover but other countries' taxes do, like our uniquely high health insurance premiums, you'll find that Americans actually give away more of their wages than most of the developed world. For example, in Canada, for a married worker with 2 kids, all of the previously mentioned costs combined, from taxes to health insurance premiums, make up only 11% of the average wage. In the UK, it's just about 26%. Meanwhile, once you tack on the cost of our outlandish health insurance premiums, you're spending a whopping 43% of your paycheck. That's more than France, Finland, Sweden, and Norway. In real reality, Americans keep much less of what we own than in other countries. In other countries, their government takes a bit more tax, but then gives that money back to their citizens in the form of healthcare or job support, or a general safety net for all vulnerable citizens, no matter how dusky they are. So what do Americans get for the money we pay in? Well, sure.
I guess I'm just gonna guess before he says it. I don't know if I'll be right. Nothing. More hours of work. A larger gap between wealthy and poor, because, you know, it's the wealthy people who are in these positions of society that are creating the rules in a certain way to siphon more money out of the pockets of the people who are providing them the value to their businesses. And I guess, yeah, to make even more. Correct! That's the crazy thing, too. It's like, once you reach a certain threshold of money, it's sort of like, there has to be like an emotional thing to it, right? Like, I just gotta get more, gotta keep being a parasite, while pretending that the people who are affording me my value are parasites and are being more parasitic simply for asking for more, you know, basic, decent living. Because it's like, there's a certain threshold of money where it's like, you can keep spending it, and it won't make a difference to your overall quality of life. You can still do whatever you want, whenever you want, go wherever, eat whatever, can live the life you have total control over once you reach a certain threshold of money. You don't even need that much. Dude, off of like literally $100,000, I wouldn't be living in the States. This place is garbage, it's a trash heap. And that money would go into mediocre products and low quality service. But I would be living abroad and such, and I would be able to live a life in which I can do whatever the fuck I want. When I get there, do whatever I want, whenever I want. Everything after that is sort of just padding. There definitely is an emotional thing to it. Some type of psychology to monetary acquisition, or at least exponential monetary acquisition. Because it gets to a certain point where it's like, all right, you don't need that much money. And ironically, it's like the more money you siphon for the world, the less money there is in circulation for other people to have, right? I mean, they say there's an infinite amount of money at the Federal Reserve, but I mean, everyone always treats it as if it's super finite. So it's like, shouldn't you be extra cautious towards it if that's the case, to what those people are saying? Funny thing is, isn't money just a thing that humans created, just made up so that we can control each other for the most part? I mean, when you look at every other facet of life, that's kind of how it works. Governments, religion, social standards, gender standards, any standards that can be applied based on any factor or demographic that you could file people into. It's just different ways to control each other. Money just seems like another thing to control people, one thing that's more of a pervasive force, because it's more obvious when you don't have that much money. Your life is going to suffer immensely as a result of that. But that's just one of a billion things. All right, let's keep going.
Well, sure, we get a crumbling infrastructure, shameful homelessness, and millions of hungry, neglected children, but we also get some of the worst services in the developed world. Again, our healthcare. American healthcare is simultaneously the most expensive, the least efficient, and the least effective healthcare system in the developed world. Hey, the devil's trifecta. And in exchange for this extremely expensive, inefficient healthcare system, what do we get? Well, we get some of the worst health outcomes in the developed world. We have fewer hospital beds per capita than people in Turkey or Brunei. Americans have a lower life expectancy than people in Lebanon or Cuba. And in the Mississippi Delta and much of Appalachia, life expectancy is lower than in Bangladesh. In fact, in 2017...
Damn. Sorry, there was a sound effect there. That was fucking ringing. That didn't hurt you guys. You know, you're okay. Got my little dogs on the bed. They didn't seem to notice it. I did. That was like a weird... Yeah, if you made it to this far in the video, good on you, honestly. Most people who dislike the videos, they usually make up crap based on the first few seconds that that they see in my video, and then they just interpret everything. Yeah, these are stupid people. It's not the types of videos aren't made for those people, for people who don't have that much of a brain capacity. Take it from this guy, dude. We're just using information that's being relayed to us based on stuff that other people get. We're just reacting to it. But if you made it to this point in the video, good on you, right? Say a lot of stuff that people really, really wouldn't like, because it's accurate, and it's reflecting the really shitty, intrinsically shitty aspects of human nature. Because humans are evil, right? Now let me expand upon that. Evil, now granted you can get into the subjective, objective crap and morality stuff, but we're just talking about judging evil based on the amount of suffering that's created as a result of something, right? Okay. In an intrinsically callously indifferent environment where anything goes, Who do you think wins? What types of animals are the ones that are able to walk freely across the plain without having to worry about too many threats? Which ones have to run away the least from various types of other monsters or animals that are trying to get it? Which ones are the ones that are able to more accessibly have control over what they do? The animals that can kill and maim, the ones with the highest capacity for destruction? Who's the king of the jungle? The lion. Why? Why is the lion the king of the jungle? Is it because of its capacity for violence? Is it because it's the most capable within its environment to be the king? So given that, and given what humans have afforded themselves, humans must be way stronger than lions. I mean, not physically, obviously, just in terms of our capability. That's definitely afforded us all of this crap that we have. The internet, video, other video, speech, lights, everything. So my contention is, for us to have gotten this far, for us to have made it this far in terms of progress, we must have manifested, well, we do manifest the absolute worst. The most monstrous, most selfish, most callous, most brutal attributes that enable this for ourselves as a species, right? We've systematically dominated every other species on the planet. We synthesize entire species just for our passive, our convenient consumption. We've molded the world for our own benefit. You know, streets, homes, monuments, everything that humans have built, all for the sake of ourselves. You can't just do that without being brutal. In a world that is callously indifferent and where anything goes, the absolute worst are always going to win. If there's no rules, anything goes. And who are the people who win when that's the case? The people who, or just the species, the organisms that don't have any sense of ethics, don't have any sense of like doing what it takes in order to get what they want / need. Starts out as a need, then it becomes a want, then it becomes, you know, humans don't just want to survive, we want to prosper, right? Our incessant vie for survival has turned into civilization and progress as our species, for our species. Yeah, I keep stopping, and hopefully this angle isn't too garbage. I don't even know if...
The United Nations sent a commissioner to West Virginia to document what he saw, and he described, quote, third world conditions of absolute poverty, unquote. We even have a higher infant mortality rate than people in Russia and Serbia. In every single metric, America does worse across the board. So why is healthcare so expensive? Because it's so complicated. You have to look for in-network physicians, schedule an established care appointment.
And why is this so complicated? Corruption? Why are taxes complicated? Corruption? Why is anything made difficult in the world's richest country? Corruption? Because there are people who benefit from it being that way? If taxes are complex, you're more incentivized to pay someone to help you with it. If healthcare is more complex, you're incentivized to not only learn more about it, to have to traverse the way that things are, but there's more layers of which people can monetize that. If just in general life is like more suffering inducing, the way that we built the society, people are more incentivized to dish out or shell out cash to benefit other people so that they can be void of that suffering. There is no excuse, because there really doesn't need to be one. The reason is there are really evil people and really shitty tiers of society that determine the outcome of everything and set everything in place so that they can benefit and exploit them for their own passive benefit, for their own passive gain. Keep using that word, benefit. If I keep shifting, it's the boils up my ass. Again, congrats if you made it this far.
Care appointment, beg for coverage from your insurance company that couldn't care less about you, and that's if you're lucky enough to have good insurance. Compare that to Britain and all of those other evil, socialist-like countries where it's simple. Public hospitals provide free treatment to people who need it. That's it. I'll repeat that. Public hospitals provide free treatment to people who need it. And here's the best.
That's disgusting. Who's gonna make money off of that? That's the most important thing everywhere. If someone's not making money while destroying everyone else, then that's just not freedom right there. I'm a dumbass piece of shit American. I don't know any better. I was indoctrinated to believe in this stuff because of my feelings. Again, like I said at the beginning of the video, everyone everywhere you go is going to be indoctrinated in one way or the other, based on the cultural norms and the values and the people they're surrounded by, all these things. But the degree, the degree of shit, the frequency of the shit, the volatility of that shit, just all these various factors, they all really just pertain to time and place. And America, unfortunately, in this time and place is the absolute worst. Unless, of course, you compare it to some other garbage, war-torn, like third world country, of which America probably has its slimy little fingers in. It's just, there's no excuse if you were to contextualize it through a way that actually cares about human life. It absolutely makes sense when you're just like, make money, man. Get your buck. Fuck these people. Let them starve. If they don't have money to give you, then they just don't deserve to eat. Remember, it's conditioning, cultural conditioning. Americans only care about money and vanity. And as a result, destruction, incessant amounts of destruction, which is just oh so cool. That's why they say it's the land of opportunity. It's like, yeah. Know if you ever played the game GTFO? It's more of an extraction shooter, right? They drop you into this like deep cave and you have to go kill a bunch of monsters and extract something. It's like, that's kind of the way that it is, right? If you can brave the turmoil, the apocalyptic scenery, the violence, the mayhem, you could make a lot of money. But as a result, for the most part, most people are going to get absolutely demolished. And that's usually what happens. And then they get blamed for it. Because again, it's apocalyptic hellscape, right? If you're in The Walking Dead and you're injured and you're like crying and screaming and all, you're attracting all the zombies to you, people are going to be like, shut the fuck up, shut up, shut up. It's like, you know why he's crying and screaming. He's like in lots of pain. It's like, but if he doesn't stop screaming and crying, he'll get torn apart. And then people are just like, maybe if he didn't get cut, or maybe if he didn't get injured, or maybe if he was a better survivor, or maybe if he was more, it's stuff like that. Instead of just like, oh, this entire scenario is garbage. Why are we living in the Walking Dead universe? Why not just change things in a way that doesn't put people in these awful situations? But no, sorry, that's disgusting. That's through an ethical lens. Remember, I'm an American. I need to contextualize stuff through a survivor in apocalyptic hellscape. So, all right, I'm doing it, blah, 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 American, okay. So fuck everyone, I gotta get my bag. You're all weak and stupid if you're poor, and this is the greatest place in the world. There we go, perfect. Strong survive. All right, now I've manifested my American identity, so let's just continue.
Here's the best part. Even though Britain offers healthcare for free, their system is actually a lot cheaper to run than ours. Per capita healthcare spending in the US is almost 3 times what it is in Britain, and almost 5 times what Canadians spend. In fact, Americans spend the most per person of any country in the world for healthcare. But the free market is more efficient, you screech. But in America, private systems often aren't efficient at all. Private drug companies have an incentive to charge whatever they can get away with for pharmaceuticals. In Canada, a carton of insulin costs about 20 bucks. In the US, it costs 300 bucks. And with private insurance companies footing the bill, hospitals...
But that's because it's supposed to be that way. It's just the way it's the free market.
It's like as they're chewing on their McDonald's and seizing out, right? Because they're like obese, because Americans are fat and gross, according to statistics. I know, there's prejudice. But again, yeah, it boils it down. Why is that? People want money. Yeah, that's it. They change the price because they want to get as much money from people as possible. That's how it works. And as a result, suffering, pain, despair, desperation, sadness, depression, which is extra. That's all those things are really good because you can make even more money off that. Prescribing drugs, sending people to rehabs or something, charging them for putting them in desperate situations, scooping them up and putting them into the jail system or the prison industrial complex. Made lots of money off all stuff. It's great. It's awesome. It's America's kind of like, I guess, pirate country. Just a bunch of thieves and marauders and rapists and monsters just destroying each other, all for a buck. It's gross. This place is terrible. My advice, get out. Leave this place before it destroys you and your family. Or you can just stay here and get destroyed and alongside your family, I guess. Oh man, I hate what this place does to people. really depresses me, but I'm trying to detach myself because I'm trying to manifest the American inside me, the ethnocentric dumbass American where I only give a shit about myself, my own well-being, so that I can detach myself from this place and go live a better life in a better place surrounded by better people and better standards and better cultural values and just we're a higher quality place. That's America's garbage. So don't come here. That's my advice. Even as a vacation, needlessly expensive. Here's an example. A hotel, single night, a place like Boston, $200, at least a decent one. $200 to $300. Meanwhile, $200, $300 could get you a small condo in a place like Thailand for a month.
Oh, it's just because it's better. It's higher quality.
Normally that opinion comes from a dumbass American who just lies to themselves. That's okay. Let them do that. Let them hork down that Big Mac and drink more of that artificially flavored drink that's filled with like a week's worth of sugar in a single go, and then just watch them seize up and be like, oh damn, maybe this could have been avoided had you had more self-awareness. All right, I paused a lot. I'm only 5 minutes in. Let's keep going.
Hospitals have an incentive to get as much money out of patients as possible too. In 2015, the average cost of an MRI scan in the US was $1,119, but it was only $215 in Australia. Spain, about $181. And our healthcare system is so inefficient that we spend over a third of our cost on administration. The United States spends significantly more on administration than we spend on preventative or long-term healthcare.
I also like how when people, all they do, because people are fucking stupid, right? Like the Americans, they use vanity metrics to determine everything. They see a number thing, like a subscriber count or a bank account number. It's like, oh my God, that means this because the number. And then they start seizing up after eating 7 Big Macs. I'm going to keep doing that. Yeah, and then they just presume that just because that number is high, then that must mean it's good. It's very stupid, black and white ape brain logic. But it makes sense, remember. Who do you think is benefited by these apes telling themselves that this is how it works? The people who are benefited by everything else. The people who are in these positions with these high numbers that people can look at and be like, oh my God, look how high that number is. Dude, this guy makes so much money. He's clearly very intelligent and just more capable and he's just better. He's just a superior human. It's pretty gross, but you can't, it's corruption. It's corruption that motivates those things. So it makes sense why these animals say these types of things. So again, get away or learn to accept it and embrace it and then become part of the muck and then become like destroyed from the inside out, I guess, by manifesting your cultural values as an American. Nowhere else. I guess we'll see what else. He's still going on in healthcare, so let's see what he's...
That's just not smart. Okay, we get it. We all know that American healthcare is so much more expensive, you say, but that's the cost of having the freest freedom in God's favorite country. Well, guess what? Medical procedures that are totally free in Britain, like giving birth, cost tens of thousands of dollars in the United States. I mean, you want to talk about the cost of freedom. Sadly, because of these high costs, Americans often avoid going to the doctor, something almost half the population say they do. With shoddy or non-existent health insurance, Americans will wait until their conditions force them into the emergency room where treatment is far more expensive. Again, not a smart system. Quite often, they end up putting off medical visits and dying. Susan Finley, a 53-year-old Walmart employee in Colorado, got pneumonia and took 1 day off of work beyond what Walmart's policy allows. So of course, Walmart's gonna Walmart, which they did by firing her. Without her job, she lost her nominal health care coverage, she struggled to find new work, and after avoiding a visit to the doctor for flu-like symptoms, she was found dead in her apartment.
By the way, I hope that like the people who own Walmart, like the family, all the Nepo babies and shit, like, well, they're all just together, just partying, having some like party on their yacht, and then it gets hit by like a torpedo because of just some unrelated war shit, and then it sinks, and then they all drown inside their cabins. I hope that happens. That'd be really cool. But oh, sorry, that's messed up for me to say that, but not messed up for these people to do these things to millions and millions of people because they're just better. Like, why else would they be in that position if they weren't just superior to everyone? They're just smart business people, and you're just jealous and angry and stupid, and you're just poor and dumb. And that's what a poor and dumb person would say. A poor and dumb person would have ethics. and not just like, you know, celebrate the suffering of like a majority of people in the place they live just because they've been conditioned into that and they're too stupid to think for themselves. Well, maybe, hopefully, make it happen, Russia or Ukraine or whoever, or whatever warring countries are happening between. Make it happen, Israel or Palestine. While the Walmart yacht is making this to fucking Jeff Bezos on his yacht, just nuke it. Then, I mean, granted, a bunch of other parasites will take its place. It's all built to keep going afterwards. But, you know, it's just, hey, add that one number to the fatality list of all these fatalities that already exist. Might as well. Torpedoes, guys. Torpedoes.
When Americans do manage to get treated, they frequently can't afford it. Simple, life-saving treatments can cost tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, and if they don't have really good insurance, they're forced to take on medical debt. Tens of millions of Americans owe medical debt, often into the tens of thousands of dollars. Meanwhile, in a country like Britain or Norway, medical debt is almost unheard of. But hey, that's why GoFundMe is such a critical component of American healthcare. 1 in 3 GoFundMe campaigns is now for medical bills. I'll repeat that. 1 in 3 GoFundMe campaigns is now for medical bills. America is such a strong...
Yeah. And what's so wacko disgusting about this garbage country and culture is that you have so many idiots that like they see the GoFundMe shit. Because remember, people are making money off that. The GoFundMe people, whoever is associated with that, people think it's actually like a heartwarming story when like a kid with cancer raises like a certain amount of money on GoFundMe. Oh my God, they did it, yes. Instead of acknowledging that, hey, why are you paying that much for all that shit? Oh, right, dumbass piece of shit Americans that don't know any better, right? So then they, yeah, idiots. It's just funny, it's just all fake. It's all just imaginary make-believe crap that people make up. It's disgusting. Fuck this place, fuck this country, fuck its values, fuck it, fuck just what it is. Fuck the people that made it this way, and fuck everyone else who mindlessly believes in it because they don't know any better. It's disgusting. Yeah, like this legitimately pissed me off. Granted, because I'm a little bit more ethically conscious than a lot of these disgusting Americans, right, who just live in denial and lie to themselves and pretend that the stuff they feel is legitimate just because they feel it. But yeah, no, I mean, my anger is caused by the suffering of all the needless suffering. It is needless. Like, what does this amount to? What's the difference from like being a multimillionaire or from making millions to making tens of millions? I mean, to the person who, you know, is making that money, they can open their bank account and be like, oh wow, there's more zeros now. Cool, I feel stuff. While everyone else is dying and starving and all being killed. And yeah, it's a disgusting species.
You're just cynical, Jane. You learn how to ignore stuff. Learn how to just tell yourself everything's okay, it's my feelings, blah, blah, blah.
It's like, hey, there's a truth to that. I do need to kind of learn how to just not give a fuck about these disgusting animals as they all burn in their awful country that was designed to burn them. But it's like, it's kind of hard. I don't want to be that. I want to be ethically conscious. I want to like actually be concerned. But there's no point to that because this is the way things are. So detach, secure your own well-being, find freedom in your own terms, and then just get the hell out. It's the best thing. That's the only way you can react to this. There's no point in voting. There's no point in contributing to this. Nothing's going to change in a way that actually like noticeably benefits people's lives. The corruption is too ingrained in this place. You got to just flee. You got to get out.
America is such a strong, powerful, rich, and great country that its citizens have to beg strangers on the internet for money so they can get life-saving treatments that are free in the rest of the developed world. But hey, that's just healthcare. Americans get terrible deals wherever you look. Let's take work, for example. Americans work longer hours than people in any other rich country in the world, and that's not because they enjoy sleep deprivation and not seeing their families for days at a time. It's because they don't want to starve, or freeze, or die. See, America has the least generous job support programs, the least generous family benefits, and the least generous unemployment benefits of any wealthy country. It's one of the only countries on Earth that doesn't guarantee paid time off for vacations. It doesn't even help provide paid time off for parents who just had a child. And it's not coincidental that we're also one of the most hostile countries to workers' rights. America has one of the lowest unionization rates in the entire world. Maybe this...
Do you see a trend here? Corruption, maybe? Rich people destroying everyone so that they can continue to be rich and then get richer?
No, it's just the way things are. It's inflation. That's why everything's expensive. The dollar cost and the dollar went up.
As they puke up their like Burger King and McDonald's, and they're just like,
Sorry, leftovers. If I don't eat this, I'll starve.
and they consume it back up in a viscous soup.
Maybe this deprivation, our refusal to give people the means to lead a good, dignified life commensurate with how rich our country is, can explain a bit of what we've seen in the United States over the last few decades. Fraying communities, rising rates of depression and suicide, huge numbers of deaths from drug overdoses. These so-called deaths of despair, suicide, drug overdoses, alcoholic liver disease, they're one big reason why American life expectancy has actually started to decline over the last few years. And with such poor conditions, it's not a surprise that poverty is so rampant in the United States. America devotes a smaller percentage of spending on social welfare than any other industrialized economy because, say it with me, socialism is evil. It's evil. Go to Denmark and try telling those happy, healthy families enjoying their paid vacation that their system of government is evil. Guess what? I guarantee they'll know you're an American. But I digress.
It's embarrassing. It's a fucking laughing stock of a place. That's funny. They'll just know you're an American because you're fucking stupid. Wow. Right to the heart, man. God damn. You got a point there, huh? They understand how wacko and delusional and mindless and shitty. It's like, I get some decent amount of comments. People here and there, it's like, oh, I'm glad I'm not an American. I envy you. This is a garbage country that lies to itself, and so many people are fucking stupid, delusional, just mindless idiots everywhere. It's gross, but it's funny. I do like that. I feel like the embarrassment, the international embarrassment is absolutely worthy. Like, we're worthy of that. I don't even say we, because I don't believe them. I was just born and raised here. Like, this place has nothing to do with what's going on here and here. I mean, I am molded by my environment, but it's like... And yes, in that context, but in that context, everyone is as well. But there is the individualism aspect, the undetermined, the unknown, right? Why does somebody go through all this stuff? When you look at a serial killer, I just use this example, a lot of people I'm talking to. Look at a serial killer, you look at all the stuff they've been through, the trauma, the abuse, like everything's terrible. It makes sense why they turned out that way. Yet there's other people who've been through stuff that's similar, identical, and they don't turn out that way. Why? No idea. No idea. It just is. It's an example of that. So maybe I'm one of the non-serial killers here. Because I don't find it normal to have to own a firearm and be worried that somebody will break in your house, you're going to have to get into a gun battle. I don't think it's normal for there to be so many homeless people in the richest country in the world. I don't think it's normal for, there to be so much violence and mayhem and everyone is delusional and stupid and like uniquely stupid. Americans are uniquely stupid just in general. I don't think that's normal. I think humans are more than capable of that shit. I mean, look at all this cool shit we can build. Like, we're clearly capable. And if this is what's happening in this time and place in this part of the world, it's like, there's something else happening that's going on. And the answer is corruption. That's the right answer. Bad people in the wrong places making the wrong decisions so that they can benefit themselves. That's it. All of this stuff that he's talking about, it boils down to just greed and monstrous indifference and exploitation. Just evil. That's evil. Ironically speaking, even though you're saying that socialism's evil, which we're not going to get into the terms and all that shit. You guys can tear each other apart in the comments over that stuff, which I appreciate. Thanks for the engagement.
America also has the highest rate of child poverty of any developed country, and the highest percentage of workers earning significantly less than the national median income. That seems pretty evil to me, especially since such a tiny fraction take as much of your money for themselves and their families as you will let them. All the while, both parties smile and shake hands. Across every single metric, no people accept a worse deal than Americans today. High taxes, high cost of living for next to nothing in return from the government. The most expensive healthcare system for the worst health outcomes. More money taken from workers for the highest rate of child poverty. We are the richest country in the history of the world, but we have fewer miles of high-speed rail than Uzbekistan. We are the greatest country in the world, yet we have the most people in prison of any country, and the highest incarceration rate as well, and a higher rate of police killings than in Angola and Sudan. America is bad at everything because instead of
And if you talk about that to your average American, they're just gonna make up stupid shit because they're feelings, right?
No, there's a reason for that, and it's a valid reason. It's a good reason. People are just bad, violent.
I've had people, I've argued with people who are just like, the cops need to be more violent. They need to kill more people. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, there's a reason why I'm gonna get away from you fucking animals. You guys are just disgusting. The people who actually believe in that stuff. Not all Americans, but like, in order for you to not be part of that, you have to be aware of it, which being an American, being aware is not like part of the culture or just part of the people just here in general. People here are supposed to be stupid because that benefits the people who steal their money from them and exploit them and underpay them and, you know, steal their lives from them and all that stuff. But your average American is just going to lie to themselves.
Yeah, I guess I'm just gonna vote liberal or Democrat or Republican. That'll make a difference. I'm fucking stupid.
Yeah, go ahead. Do that. Just keep doing the same thing you do every time. And then live a shitty, terrible life so that you can benefit people who hate you and just die. I mean, if that's like, you clearly have been conditioned to thinking that this is not only normal, but good. So, all right, sorry, but clearly not sorry. You don't seem to be the suffering happens, you know, when it happens. But like most people, I guess these people just can't. They just can't see it, refuse to see it, won't see it, don't want to see it. All stuff like that. So my advice, find a way to make money in a way that you control and get the fuck out. Leave the country. Don't come to America. Don't visit. Don't vacation. Especially don't live there. It is a trash heap that is designed to kill you. So if you made it this far again, I congratulate you and thank you for watching, honestly. Almost there.
Instead of choosing to make life better for people through a public healthcare system or more generous childcare policies or better public transit or programs that allow people to spend more time with their families, American law is designed and crafted to protect a class of parasitical middleman industries. Instead of using a proportionally tiny piece of the massive amount of the wealth in this country to make people's lives healthier and happier, most of our elected leaders are, and have been for generations, engaged in a massive project of looting, gently and lovingly guiding as much money as possible from working people into the pockets of the well-connected and the ultra-rich. Think about that as we start hearing about the inevitable rise in homelessness, poverty, starvation, and sickness that will occur during these coming months and years in the greatest, strongest, richest, most powerful country on the face of the earth. I'm David Cross for the Gravel Institute.
Alrighty, cool. High quality video. Thank you so much. And if you've made it this far into the video, you probably aren't one of those dumbasses that I was talking about who can actually has like a attention span, is able to actually listen and understand. But yeah, a lot of the other people who like, they probably just saw the first immediate like contention against America and they just started seizing and downvoting and leaving their shitty ass mindless comments. So feel free to destroy those people. It opens up a nice little area of debate in the comment section, which is always fun. It's always fun. But yeah, so that's that. America's an awful, evil, backwards piece of shit country, and if an American is it's usually going to be a dumbass American who totes its greatness, or people who are actively benefited by its association with these standards that are pervasive in this time and place in this culture. Things are going to get worse. They are not going to get better. Your votes don't mean shit. Your work, how hard you work doesn't mean shit. Make money is the only thing these animals care about. So please stay safe. Please get the hell out of here, man. If I'm speaking to Americans, which I know that not everyone who's watching is American, but like, to the Americans, please leave, man. Get out. Get out before this place destroys you. This place was designed to destroy you. This place hates you just for what you are. Go to a more enlightened part of the world. Those exist. There's so many places. Just try to make yourself well known. Make your own money. Get out. Don't come back, man. This place is evil. This place is the perfect personification of evil. There are no other places in the world that are as grotesque and as violent as this. Even a place like North Korea is technically more ethical, just because it's contained and they torture their own people, sure. Which America does the same exact thing, but it's like, how many places Or how does North Korea really possess the power to have as much influence in other places as America does? Right, and when people point to North Korea and say that it's garbage, usually it's only North Koreans, right, people who are indoctrinated to the culture and the values, who defend it. The same shit applies to America. Only thing is there's a lot more people who actually get sold in the idea of American exceptionalism, which is just garbage. So, yeah, please stay safe.